Hello, my dear students, my dear boys and girls. My great respect to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, a great teacher, philosopher, and a statesman. However, today is his birthday and it is celebrated as the Teacher's Day. And the day is dedicated to Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. And tonight I have appeared before you, my dear students, with a great lesson, with a universal poem by the most modern poet by D.H. Lawrence, David Herbert Lawrence. This David Herbert Lawrence was an English short story writer, novelist, poet, and essayist. This great man was born on 11th September 1885. He stood United Kingdom and died of pneumonia and at the same time malaria on 2nd March 1930. And within the short span of his life, he penned the memorable novels like The Rainbow, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Sons and Lovers, etc. He was greatly influenced by E.M. Foster, Thomas Hardy, Joseph Conrad, Sigmund Freud, the great psychologist, and many more educationists or his contemporaries. However, his primary education started at Nottingham School in England, and at the same time, after having passed his school education or school exam, he was admitted to the University of Nottingham, and from there he graduated. His notable works are even prescribed in the Indian universities like Sons and Lovers, The Rainbow, Lady Chatterley's Lover, Woman in Love, etc. And his resting place was New Mexico. However, I want to read with you the great poet of D.H. Lawrence, a poet who has sketched the mental agony, the miseries and sufferings of a school teacher. The name of the poem is Last Lesson of the Afternoon. Last lesson of the afternoon. Now let us read the poem and explain every word and sentence so that the students of ICSE, CBSE, IST, etc. are able to understand the content of the poem. However, now let us read the poem and explain the poem. Okay? When will the bell ring and end this weariness? Both the teachers and the students wait for the ringing of the last bell. The ringing of the last bell, that is the final bell, when the students and the teachers will start for their home. When will the bell ring and end this weariness? So, it is a very pertinent question, because the teacher is also fatigued. The spirit of his life is being exhausted, and the students are also fatigued after being confined to the four walls of the schoolroom. How long have they tugged the leash, L-E-A-S-H, and strained apart? That means the students have been bound within the controlling rope as if they are animals, as if they are caged birds, as if they are trapped animals. How long have they tucked the leash and strained apart, and they try their level best to come out of the bondage, to come out of the controlling power of the teacher. My pack of unruly hounds, note of exclamation. My pack of unruly hounds. That means the students have been compared to the hounds, the wild animals. They have juvenile delinquency, and they want to be free from the bondage of teaching. It is the hollowness of teaching. It is the goalless teaching, because the teacher has no option but teach in the classroom, because he is a salaried person, and the students are bound to be confined to the classroom. I cannot start them again on a quarry of knowledge they hate to hunt. Quarry, Q-U-A-R-R-Y. Quarry means a deep pit from where the stones have been lifted up, from where the stones have been cut off and lifted up. So the teacher exclaims, then again on a quarry of knowledge they hate to hunt, because the students are reluctant, they are unwilling to have the knowledge from the teacher in the classroom. I can hold them and urge them no more. That means the teacher is unable to control them, to provide them with his knowledge, with his wisdom, with his information, because the students are too much tired. They can't take, they do not want to take this knowledge from their teacher. No longer now can I endure the brunt. No longer can I endure the want. Here endure means tolerate or bear with, and brunt means the worst part of life, just to bear the brunt of the worst part of life. According to the poet D.H. Lawrence, that is David Herbert Lawrence, the most modern poet, protests against this type of education, against this education of making a clerk, of making a office goer only. So the poet admits that he cannot tolerate or bear with the worst part of the lives of the students of his own, of the books that lie out on the desks, a full 3 score. The books derived from the knowledge derived from books that are heaped up on the table just to distribute knowledge among the students, of several insults of blotted pages and scrawl of solemnly work. Here solemnly, SLOVENLY, slovenly, here slovenly means untidy or dirty, untidy or dirty, slovenly. তাই all the students are expected to be pinned to the seats to grab the knowledge from their teacher. But there are several books heaped up on the table, while the learners are very much reluctant to have their knowledge from the teacher and the books of slovenly work that have offered me. That means the books that have offered knowledge to the teacher. I am sick. That means the poet is tired of teaching, tired of or fatigued of teaching in the classroom. And what on earth is the good of it all? I am sick. What good to them or me, I cannot see. The poet cannot realize the purpose of education. What is the purpose of education? It is goalless, it is aimless. While both the teacher and the students are reluctant for education, for having education, the teacher is unable, the teacher is fatigued to distribute education or information among the students, while the students on the other hand are reluctant to acquire knowledge, to grab knowledge from their teacher. So, shall I take my last dear fuel of life to heap on my soul? That is, the poet asks, D.H. Lawrence asks, my last dear fuel of life, that is, all the fuel of life has been exhausted because the school is going to be over, and his fuel of life, his spirit of life, his energy of life is exhausted. And to heap on my soul, and how is it possible for him to re-energize his soul, to re-energize his spirit, to re-energize his life? Okay? And kindle my will to a flame that will consume They are dross of indifference. They are dross of indifference and take the toll. That means kindle my will to a flame. That means he is unable to kindle. He is unable to kindle to kindle the lamp of his knowledge, to kindle the lamp of his wisdom, to kindle the lamp of his information, and take the toll. Take the toll means to cause harm or damage. To cause harm or damage. Damage to both his own soul and to the souls of the learners. Clear? Of their insults in punishment, I will not. No. The poet is unable. The poet is reluctant. I will not waste my soul and my strength for this. The poet doesn't want to waste or to lose the strength of his soul, the strength or energy of his spirit for this purpose. The purpose of goalless education, the hollowness of education, HOLLOWNESS, the hollowness of education, education that cannot make a man perfect. So tonight's lesson is very appropriate for this modern world. David Edward Lawrence thought of this many years ago, and I am teaching with you, I am reading with you tonight the Teacher's Day. What do I care for? All that they do amiss. Amiss means here inappropriate. So what is to be done by the teacher for all that they do amiss? Because all this purpose, all this syllabus, all this knowledge, all this information are quite inappropriate, are useless, are goalless, and full of hollowness. What is the point of this teaching of mine and of learning for theirs? Again, there is a question from the poet. What is the use? What is the usefulness of this type of education? Because the students must be at liberty to gather their information, their knowledge automatically, spontaneously from nature, from the different places, and the teacher is nothing but a guide only. He will deliver a lecture on the platform. He is supposed to be packed up with knowledge, packed up with information, and he is supposed to pour all his knowledge and information in front of the students. No, this is called useful, unuseful. This is called inappropriate education, goalless education, and education any sort of purpose. It all goes down the same abyss. Here, abyss means immeasurable depth. Immeasurable depth. That means it all goes down the same abyss. That means my information, my teaching will go into the immeasurable depth. That means it has no fruitful effect upon the students. It has no fruitful effect upon the students. It has no impact upon the students. it cannot make a student a perfect man for future society. What does it matter to me if they can write a description of a dog or if they can't? So it doesn't matter to the teacher. It doesn't matter to D.H. Lawrence, the poet, whether the students are able to give a description of a dog or a cow or any animal. What is the use of it? What is the point? To us both, it is all my aunt. It is all my aunt means nonsense. Whether they are able to describe a thing, to describe an animal, to describe an object, it is all but my aunt. That is nonsensical. That is nonsense. Yet, I am supposed to care with all my might. Might means strength. Yet, it is supposed that a teacher is packed up with knowledge, is packed up with information, is packed up with wisdom, and they will distribute all sorts of information among the student with all his strength. With all his strength, the guardians also expect. So, and the system also expects so. I do not, I will not. The poet comes to the conviction, the poet comes to the conclusion that no, he will not admit, he will not accept this view of modern education. They won't find, they won't, and that's all. I shall keep my strength for myself. No, I shall keep my spirit. I shall keep my soul full of spirit. I shall keep my strength within myself. They can keep theirs as well. And the students will also keep their strength, will also keep their energy within themselves. Why should we beat our heads against the wall? We just should not knock our heads or bump our heads against the walls of each other. I shall sit and wait for the bell. No, I shall sit in my classroom and wait for the final ring. Because I do not accept this type of education, modern education, and I think that this type of education will not make any good to society. So I will sit for the final bell to be rung, and the students will also sit in the class for the final bell to be rung. That's the end of my lecture. My dear students, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Stay safe, stay mellow, avoid mass gathering, use your mask and hand sanitizer. And today is the 5th September, the birthday of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, a statesman, a philosopher, and a great teacher. And I tender my compliment to this great teacher, and I distribute my love among my students. Thanking all of you. Good night. Don't forget to subscribe my channel.